These are my top 12 tips on how to start your keto journey and be successful. Let's lose the weight and keep it off for good this time. Check this out. Hey guys, I'm Ileka, Keto Mommy Makeover. I'm a mom of 4 who lost 120 pounds through the ketogenic diet, exercise, and mindset changes. And I've helped thousands of women do the same thing. Remember, the mindset is what makes you keep the weight off, right? Changing that relationship with food, that's something that we work on every single day, okay? So go ahead to my website, download my free guide to start your weight loss journey, all right? And let's get started. All right, so today's video, I wanna give you my top keto tips, okay? Here's how you start ketos, here's how you keep it going, here's how you make it work for you. I started keto 4 years ago. And when I started, there wasn't a lot of like recipes and all these things out here. There were a few keto folks on YouTube and Instagram, but I really didn't pay that much attention to it because I really didn't understand, right? So I just kind of started, right? Just randomly. Didn't know what I was doing and messed all the way up, right? That was my first time starting. And so I had some major drawbacks, side effects, everything. So that's why it's so important to me to help other people start the right way. So let me give you my tips on how to start keto, right? All right, so the first tip that I always give in any health and fitness journey is finding your why. And I know you guys have heard this from me so many times, so if you want to skip past this part, go ahead, right? I get it. But it's so important, right? It's something you can't skip past when you're actually getting started in your journey. So I always tell my clients, find your why, that thing that's going to motivate you to get started, but that thing that's also going to push you when you are ready to give up. Because I will tell you something, losing 120 pounds is not an easy thing, right? It's not something that you're just like, oh, okay, girl, I'm about to lose the weight, and then you just start and you just finish, right? No, it's a process. There's steps along the way, and there's so many missteps along the way. There's times when you just want to quit. I can't tell you how many times I wanted to quit, but what kept me going was knowing exactly what my why was. My why was being healthy for my family. My why was being able to go and play with my kids and be the mom that I wanted to be. My why was being able to live a life full of joy and good health, right? That was my why, as opposed to walking around like I was, like an unhealthy person who was 3 times my age. That's literally how I lived at the time. So finding your why, that is step number 1, all right? So actually, I want you to get a pen and a paper and get this started, all right? Get going on this. So find your why, that's number 1. Write that down, all right? And I want you to write down what your why is. And I want you to really dig deep and push yourself into why it's important for you to do this. Tape it somewhere, put it on your wall somewhere so that this is something you can be dedicated to, and it's something that you can consistently go to and say, you know what, I'm gonna keep this going because this is really important to me. This is something that can change my life, all right? So find your why, all right? Step number 2, okay? Now we're getting into keto, okay? You're saying, oh, I wanna do keto. Girl, I'm just gonna start. Don't be like Ileka and just think you're gonna start, right? Because when Ileka started, not only did I suffer with dehydration, I suffered with insomnia, I suffered with all these different things because I wasn't doing keto correctly, right? Almost passed out a few times. That's what happened when I tried keto 5 years ago. And I did it for a full month because I had my why, so I really wanted to do this. Did it for a full month. I lost a good amount of weight, considerable amount of weight in that month. And then I quit because I had deprived myself so much and I'd done so many things wrong that I just was not feeling good. And so I quit and literally fell off, gained all my weight back plus some. So then I had to start over, and that's when I started my true keto journey. But here's what I did first. I educated myself. I got an understanding of what keto was, how it worked, how to do it in different situations, environments, how to do it at different ages, right? Because the thing is, what folks don't understand is a 27-year-old doing keto will not have the same macros or same needs for each specific macros, meaning proteins, carbs, and fats, as someone who has been doing keto, who is 45 years old. So a 27-year-old and a 45-year-old have completely different needs, right? And so we need to understand that. So get educated on keto. If you need to, get help. You know, if you're like, you know what, there's so much information out there, there's so many people out there doing keto, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to do this, I can't figure this out, you can get help. Reach out to me, I can connect you with someone, or I can help you myself. You know, I want to make sure that you're getting what you need. And that's the most important piece for me, right? So reach out to me and I'll help you get started, okay? So, but get the help if you don't want to sit there like I did for hours and hours on end. Because I will tell you this, when I started keto for the first time, it was March of 2016, I believe, right? And I did it for that month. Very successful, very sick, you know, all wrong, right? Successful meaning I lost weight. Unsuccessful meaning I had to quit because I was losing my mind, because I was doing it all wrong. Hormones, everything out of balance, right? Had done it all wrong. So what I had to do was I literally spent from April until, really not April, because April is when I was like, oh, forget this. So May of 2016 until January of 2017, studying, learning, being, you know, doing tons and tons of research, reading white papers, like fully educating myself on keto, understanding where keto came from, learning that, wow, keto was actually started because it was to help with ailments having to do with the neural system, right? Like all these things, right? So this is what I did in those, 7 months, I think 7, I don't know, however many months, right? This isn't a math contest. So however many months that was, I was doing that research like daily, right? Because it was so important to me to do it right this time, because I needed to protect my body. I needed to protect my health. So I wanted to do it correctly. So I did tons of research and educated myself on keto so I could do it correctly when I actually started it in January of 2017. And that is why I lost 120 pounds in a year, because I did it correctly after that, right? I decided that I was going to eat the way my body needed to eat. So that doesn't necessarily mean 70% fats and 20% proteins and 5% carbs. That's not everybody's situation or everybody's macros. And you have to understand that, because if you're sitting there saying, I've been doing keto for so long, I tried keto before and I got sick. So did I, right? I did that wrong the first time. Or I tried keto and I didn't lose any weight. Well, you know what? There's a lot of people that say that. And the reason is because you don't know what you're doing. I hate to say that. But it's like, I mean, we aren't always the experts on things, right? It's like, if I need to get my car fixed, I'm not over here, like if my brakes fail in my car, I'm not under the car like tweaking and doing crap. I don't know what I'm doing, right? So I think the same thing when it comes to health and fitness. When I first started, I didn't know what I was doing. If I hadn't sat there and spent that major time educating myself, then I would have still been, you know, who I was before, right? Or I would have just, or I would have gotten help. Which I did. I also had help, right? I had a trainer. It wasn't a personal trainer. I had a boot camp that I was going to. I was also doing like at-home workout videos. Like I was doing tons of different things. I had a community for support, all this stuff. And it's so important. It's so important on your journey, right? Because you need that accountability. You need that education. You need that support, right? And that's what I tell the ladies in my membership group, right? We are here for support. We're here for community. We're here for accountability. This is what we do. We're here for that education. So we want to make sure that we're getting what we need on this keto journey, right? So educate yourself. That is step number 2, and it is so important. Step number 3 with keto, track your macros. So I say this knowing that when I first started, I didn't track anything, right? Because I didn't really know what I was doing, right? I just stopped eating all carbs. Like that's literally what I did. So I always tell folks, I'm like, at the beginning, I'm not someone who loves tracking macros. Like honestly, I hate it. I hate it. It's my least favorite thing. But at the beginning of your journey, it is important to track your macros because you need the data to understand what you did. You know, like if you go a week and you haven't seen any progress and you've been doing keto for a week, you need to understand why. You need to understand, are you eating the right amounts of fat? Are you eating the right fat? Are you eating the right amount of protein? Are you eating the right protein? How about carbs? Are you getting too many, too few? How's your sugar alcohols? How's your fiber? What are you doing? You know, if you're feeling constipated one week, you need to understand what's happened, right? That's why tracking your macros is so important, because it's gonna help you to understand the data around what you're doing. On top of that, tracking your macros is important because it can help to keep you going. Because the way I see it is, when I'm tracking my macros, not only am I tracking my macros, I'm also tracking my my weight, right? Because I want to see where I am this week versus next week. I'm also taking pictures because I want to see my progress made, inches, everything lost, right? All those things are important. And guess what? When we're going back to your why, the thing that motivates you and keeps you going, back to step one, guess what those pictures will do? They're gonna help to motivate you and keep you going. When you see changes in your progress, you think you're giving up then? No, right? You see those changes and it's gonna motivate you even more to keep pushing and keep going and reaching your goals. So when I say track your macros, that means, like I said, that means knowing how many fats you should be consuming each day, knowing how many proteins you should be consuming each day, and knowing how many carbs you should be consuming each day, right? And then you're using a tracking mechanism to track those. So it could be Lose It, Carb Manager, MyFitnessPal, whatever you want to use. I think there's something else called iFit. Whatever you want to use to track your food, that's where you're going to track it at, right? But you also want to be able to see how much you've eaten for the day versus your target, right? Because that's gonna be important and it's gonna help you on your journey. I also always say, right, type it before you put it in your mouth, right? That's my slogan. Type it before you put it in your mouth. So basically, track it before you eat it, because sometimes you don't realize that something that you were about to consume has too many carbs in it, or has too much sugar, alcohol in it, or whatever, and you can find that out if you put it in the tracker before you actually eat it. So track it before you put it in your mouth. That's another tip along the way. So that is step number 3, tracking your macros. Step number 4, it's gonna be all about the veggies, okay? So everyone on keto, everywhere, whether you are on Instagram, YouTube, Clubhouse, whatever it is, everybody's talking about the fats. Fats are king. They love the fats, right? And we all do. I like my fats too. I love adding a little extra MCT oil to my salad and things like that, right? I love the fact that I can have, you know, eggs and different things that I really enjoy, right? And avocado is, I love avocado. Anyway, so I love the fact that I can do that. But here's the thing, right? A lot of folks talk about, you know, having so much cheese and you know, all this meat, right? All this fatty meat. And that's fine, right? Having the meat and having the cheese, but let's not go overboard. Let's not have that be the only thing you eat, right? Because some people do that as well. It's the only thing they eat is the meats and the cheese. And if you're carnivore keto, and that works for you, go for it. That's your thing, right? But if you're trying to do regular keto and you're not trying to do carnivore keto, and you want to ensure that, you know, your body is still getting the nutrients that it needs, right? And it's still getting the fiber that it needs and all those things, eat your green vegetables. That's gonna be so important, right? If you look at my meals, most of them have either spinach in it, or it has some sort of, I'll add chlorella to my shakes. I mean, we're always getting vegetables in. Broccoli at dinner, something, right? So that's really important, eating your vegetables on keto, because you want to make sure you're still nourishing your body no matter what you're doing. And honestly, the vegetables will also add some flair and some flavor, and you know, getting those colors in, that helps you to get the vitamins in that you need, right? So it's going to be really important to get your vegetables in every single day. You want to make, I try and get 8 cups of vegetables a day. I don't always hit that 8 cups because that's a lot, but I get as close as I possibly can to it, all right? So try and get your vegetables in, because when you think about it, most of the green leafy vegetables are pretty low in net carbs anyways, so you can still do that. Net carbs, by the way, are total carbs minus fiber. Some people subtract sugar, alcohol. Keto Makeover does not subtract sugar, alcohol. That is still a carb, all right? So just thinking about that. All right, so yeah, get your vegetables in, especially with green leafy vegetables. All right, so number 5, I want you to hydrate. and get your electrolytes in, all right? That's actually 5 and 6. So let's talk hydrating first, right? That's number 5. Drink your water. Getting that water in helps to really flush your system. It helps it helps your body to flow the way it's supposed to. We are supposed to be hydrated. Like so many people out here are dehydrated and don't even realize it. I didn't realize how many people don't drink water at all. You know, it's so important to keep your body hydrated so it's functioning properly. Helps to flush your system better. Honestly, even when it comes to being able to, I'm just gonna say the words pee and poop, right? Even when it comes to being able to pee and poop, right? Being hydrated helps to keep that process flowing the way it's supposed to. So you wanna make sure you're hydrated, all right? And now going on to step number 6, that is getting your electrolytes in. So what are electrolytes? That's going to be potassium, magnesium, sodium, calcium, right? So when you go into keto, basically your body starts to flush, right? You go through your glycogen storage, which is basically like the built up carbs, and your body flushes that out. Well, when it's flushing that out, it also tends to flush out a lot of the electrolytes in your body, right? And so that's like I mentioned, the sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium. So you want to make sure you are replenishing yourself with those electrolytes. And you can do that through adding a little Himalayan salt to, all your meals and even some to your water. I do that often. The other thing you could do is, drinking something like vitamin water zero, right? That has electrolytes in it and it doesn't have any sugar or sucralose or anything like that. I believe Ultima is another one, and I forgot the other name, it starts with a P, but there's tons of different electrolyte powders out there, right? But you wanna make sure you're getting one that's sugar-free, right? Because don't ruin your keto, right? Don't ruin your state of ketosis by getting a Gatorade, because your Gatorade has electrolytes in it, and now you're drinking all that sugar that's in Gatorade. Unless you get a sugar-free Gatorade, I guess. All right, so electrolytes are really important because they're also going to help you to keep the energy that you need. It helps with just keeping your body functioning the way it's supposed to. Lack of electrolytes could affect everything from cramping that you might feel in your body, feeling dehydrated because you're flushing everything through and you're not being able to hold any water. Constipation could be due to lack of electrolytes. Headaches, feeling of fatigue, all those things. The keto flu, when people hear about the keto flu, that's usually due to lack of electrolytes. If you are getting your electrolytes in, you don't get the keto flu. So that's a huge plus, right? Huge bonus. All right, so tip number 7, move. All right, it's gonna be so important that you move. And I always talk about movement in everything that I do because to me, it's move it or lose it, right? And it's important to move your body. Even if you're someone who you have to be, maybe you have to sit at a desk all day, move your arms, stand up every so often, that whole thing. Get your body moving. But if you can, at least get out and take a walk in the morning, right? Every day, take a walk. So I always say good, better, best, right? So good is to get out and take a walk during the day at sometime during the day, right? Getting about a 2-mile walk in. Better is getting that walk in early in the morning, fasted before you eat anything, right? Because a fasted exercise, fasted cardio burns more fat, right? So, because you're already in fat burning mode when you're in ketosis, all right? Best is getting a good cardio burn in the morning and maybe even some HIIT types of workouts, right? If you watch my video on 3 steps to getting into ketosis fast, I talk about that. Fasted, HIIT, anaerobic type workouts. That's best, right? That's the beast right there because that's gonna get you going. That is major fat burn. So that's huge, right? And then of course, getting some strength training in during the day is always gonna be beneficial. That is tip number 7, move. All right, tip 8, speaking of fasting, right? Intermittent fasting is a really great way to pump up your keto journey, right? Now, I always use intermittent fasting as a tool, right? So intermittent fasting is something I do most of the time, but when I work with my clients, I have them use it as a tool, as a lever, because here's the thing. Whenever we plateau, we've got to find ways to push through a plateau. And I like to use intermittent fasting for that. So intermittent fasting is basically when we fast a certain portion of the day and we eat a certain portion of the day. So it's like fasting and feasting, right? Feasting is the eating time. And it could be fasting 16 hours a day and eating during 8 hours a day, or you could even do 12 and 12, or you could do a 24-hour fast and then, begin eating the next day for a certain amount of hours and then start fasting again. However you want to do it, right? The way that I prefer is I usually do either a 14-10, meaning fasting 14 hours, eating for 10 hours, or a 16-8. That's kind of as far as I normally go. On occasion, once in a blue moon, I'll do a longer fast, but for the most part, I stick to the 16-8 or 14-10. And the reason is because I want to make sure I'm nourishing my body fully, right? What I've noticed is some people, just some people, not everyone, they hit a plateau and they start intermittent fasting. And they feel like because they're intermittent fasting, that means they have to eat less calories. The thing is, if we're eating so many fewer calories, we're not getting the nourishment that our body needs and our muscles need to tone and to be strong and to continue burning the fat and to look good when we actually lose the weight, right? That's important. So we want to make sure that we're still getting in enough calories even when we're doing intermittent fasting, all right? So intermittent fasting, it can burst that fat burning goal, right? Because as we all hear, you've heard the word by now, autophagy, right? And again, that is cell regeneration. That's major fat burning mode. It's all these different things. So many benefits of autophagy, right? And so your body goes into autophagy after about 14 hours of fasting. So if you do a full 16 hours of fast, you've got 2 hours of major fat burning, right? And that's when you want to be getting that workout in, because now you're boosting it up even more. All right. So that was tip number 8, I think, which was the intermittent fasting. All right. And so now tip number 9, accountability. So many times folks don't have a strong accountability partner and accountability crew. That becomes key in this journey. And the reason is because anyone can start a program. How many times have you started a health and fitness journey and then just gave up, right? I've done it a billion times because there was no accountability. There was no one keeping me accountable to my goals. And that's so important on this journey. Some people are really good at keeping themselves accountable. I was not, so I needed an accountability partner, support group, all those different things. That's why I provide that. That's one of the main things that I provide in my program is accountability, because accountability is going to keep you pushing to reach your goal. I'm going to remind you of your why. I'm going to keep motivating you to move forward because I want you to reach your goal, right? And then we're going to work on mindset, right? That's going to be tip number 10, right? I think mindset changes, okay? Because that's going to be really important on this process. The mindset is going to keep you going towards your goal, but also changing those mindsets is going to help you change that relationship with food. That becomes more important than anything on this journey. Like it's tip 10, but it really could have been tip number 1, because we've got to change the relationship with food so the weight does not come back on. Like that's the main thing. I've worked on that so long that and you guys have seen me, I've gone up and down, and I finally identified my triggers and have been able to manage that. It took a long time on this journey to be able to manage that. And there's some things that even your triggers you'll still struggle through. But it probably took me a year after I lost the weight before I was able to manage and fully understand my triggers, lose the weight, and keep it off, right? Because it's going to be important to do that. No one wants to keep doing this yo-yo diet forever, right? So that's why you've got to work on the mindset and changing the relationship with food. And that is tip number 11, all right? So now let's go into tip number 12. This is the final tip of this video, and that is trust the process, okay? I've had clients say this, okay? So the first week, they lose 10 pounds. And they're like, oh, I'm killing this keto thing. Yes, go me, I got it, right? And then week 2, they lose 1 pound. And they're like, I did all that? I did the same things I did last week. How did I only lose 1 pound? And so now it's like, forget it, I'm done. I'm going to get some ice cream. And I'm like, no. First of all, self-sabotage. No, you're not going to get ice cream, right? Because here's the thing. We're not going to sabotage. Remember, the mindset changes. We're working on changing your relationship with food, right? But also here's the fact of the matter. Our bodies figure out what we're doing. So, and our body changes. Things change over time. So I might lose 10 pounds in a week, and then the next week only lose 1 pound, and I was still doing the same thing. That doesn't necessarily mean I need to change and now all of a sudden switch to something else. It just means that I keep going and see what my body continues to do. That's why tracking became important, because now you have the data to see what you did differently or what you didn't do differently. Because here's the thing, we have weight loss cycles. Weight loss is a cycle. So 1 week I might have a major drop. The next week it might be a little smaller, right? The week after that, it might be nothing. And the week after that, it might be a pretty good drop again. So it's like we have these different cycles in weight loss, and we have to trust the process and get to understand that process. We all have a cycle of weight loss, right? And for most women, it revolves somewhere around our menstrual cycle, right? And even if you're past your menstrual cycle, like there is still a revolution in about a 4 to 5 week period. So get to know that cycle so that you don't psych yourself out and say, oh, I messed up, I'm not gonna lose any weight. I didn't lose any weight this week, I'm done, right? Trust the process, trust that you can get this done. What I always say is give yourself a timeline. If you're someone who's like, shoot, I know that if I don't lose weight this week, I'm gonna quit. What you have to do is start setting some things up, right? So you have to give yourself kind of these mini goals or a timeline. Like, I'm committed to doing this for at least 2 months. Whatever that time is, right? It might be 2 months, it might be 6 months, it might be a year, whatever it is. Give yourself that goal, right? To keep pushing toward a certain point. And when you do that, it gives yourself a chance and gives your body a chance to move. And if you're doing all the steps here, right, that I've given you, you will see results in your health and fitness journey. I want to make sure that you do that, all right? So take these steps. I hope you wrote them down. If you didn't, you can go to my website. You can get them there, or we can even chat, right? And get you started on your journey, all right? Check out what I'm doing. I've got lots of things, because my mission is to help women get healthy and be there for their families. I want to help men too, but I'm Keto Mama Makeover, so that's kind of what I do, right? That's my specialty, all right? I have helped some men, but I really focus on women. And that is my main thing. I want you to get healthy. I want you to make strides and changes on this journey. I want you to be your best self, the best person that you can be, okay? And so let's get this thing going, all right? Check out my website. Let's get started. I want to see you succeed. All right, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.
Don't forget to subscribe. Be sure to watch my mom's next video.
Okay.